Thank you so much for joining us for episode 2, where we'll be following Robert Fogarty at his work, at his home, and really just looking at the transformation that God's done in his life. Robert's been an incredible friend of mine, and we worked together for 17 years. And when you hear what God's doing in him, through him, and in his life, I think it can't help but do anything but inspire you, because it certainly has inspired me. And I'm just so thankful for his friendship, and can't wait for you to watch this episode.
My name is Robert Fogarty. I'm a sales manager at Builders First Source in Dallas-Fort Worth. It'll be 20 years this year in December. It's a 1956 Chevrolet half-ton pickup truck. When we got it, the paint was beautiful, but nothing else was beautiful. So we've spent the last 3.5 years air conditioning the truck, changing all the running gear from the rear end through the transmission, through the motor. We've fuel injected the truck. We've fixed the cooling system. We've done extensive work to it, and just very proud of the truck. And it's complete. What always intrigued me about that truck was that it was an old vehicle. It was a 1956 model, so it obviously had some vintage on the car itself. My intrigue was to make the truck run like a new vehicle, something that I may have bought or been fortunate enough to have off the showroom floor. So I wasn't going to stop until I got it to where you could basically jump in that truck and drive to California tomorrow with the air conditioner on. It drives very well. It's more of a look-at-me piece of art than it probably should be, but it is. I've ridden my grandchildren in that truck. I have a special needs 6-year-old grandson who just loves that vehicle, and when his eyes light up and his heart lights up, my heart lights up. I came home one Friday evening from work, and it was about 6:30, and it was summertime. And Gabriel's sister, Olivia, was in our swimming pool with her little friend. And they were up on the step of the swimming pool, and it was right by the waterfall, and it was very noisy, so they couldn't hear anything. And I was sitting in my shop. I'd walk straight into the shop. Usually I'd go into the house, but this day I walked into the shop, and I was returning some emails and some phone calls. And I just had this feeling that came over me, and I know it had to be the Lord asking me, "Where's Gabriel?" So I turned around, and Gabriel wasn't with his sister, wasn't with his friend. His dad was in the house with my wife. And I walked out of the house very quickly, and I went inside and asked where Gabriel was. And they said, "I thought he was with you." Well, obviously he wasn't. So I ran. I knew there was only one place in our home that would be unsafe for a young child, and Gabriel cannot swim. At 6 years old, he should be able to, but he may never be able to swim, quite frankly. So we ran out to the swimming pool, and Olivia seen me coming, and the look of horror on her face, and she may be 40 pounds wringing wet, and Gabriel's probably that big. She dove to the deep end of the swimming pool. Her brother was on the bottom of the swimming pool. He was lifeless. And she pulled him out of the water. I leaned over and grabbed Gabriel and put him in my arms, and Gabriel was lifeless, totally lifeless. And I thought, oh my goodness. His father was right behind me. I was patting Gabriel on the back, and Gabriel all of a sudden gushed a breath and started throwing up water. And then his dad gave him mouth to mouth. At that point in time, there was police officers, there was ambulance workers. My neighbor had jumped a fence to offer assistance. And we put Gabriel in an ambulance to go to Medical City. I got to the hospital. Gabriel was doing fine. He was sitting up. He was smiling. He was laughing. And as adults, none of us could believe it, the fortune that God had brought to our family, the miracle that had happened, quite frankly. So a week after that, I was in my shop. We'd been to church, and the sermon that day was on the Holy Spirit. And God spoke to me and said that you idolize this truck too much. It's time for you to get rid of this truck. There's only one idol, and that is me. And you need to put all your heart and faith in me. And I went inside and I spoke to my wife, and I said, Mary Jane, I said, I've just been spoken to. And she is a far better human being than me on the Christian side of the business. I looked to her and I learned from her. And when I told her that, she looked at me and said, I'm glad you finally recognized and you have heard from the Lord. And we need to do that. There was never an ounce of hesitation in her voice. The decision was made between both of us that the value of the donation 100% needs to go to Kingdom Connectors to further the work that's being done by some unbelievable people in the Yucatan. Kingdom Connectors has such a special place in my heart. The founders of it, Chris and Alicia Holmes, have such a special place in not only my heart, but my family's heart. And there's nothing more, there's nobody, frankly, and I'm sure in other people's worlds there are, but in my world, there's nobody more worthy to be a steward of those finances, to make sure it goes to the work that the Lord is calling Chris and Alicia to do through their ministry in this particular part of the world. And I've been lucky enough to go with them a couple of times down there now, not a whole lot, but a couple of times. And I come back, I think it works on me more than it works on the people down there. They have so little, and they are so joyous. They are so without the health issues that we see in this stressful society that we live in. And I feel like the trip down there is not for me to go and see if there's anything that I could do in some small way to help the people there. It's really to help me at the end of the day come back and have the dose of reality that I should have. I do not feel like I'm giving up a lot. I think I'm giving up a very small, insignificant piece of all the things that the Lord has done in my life and the blessings that He's put upon my family and my friends. So in financial terms, none of it's ours anyway. The way I feel about it, I feel like it could all be gone tomorrow, and I never really owned it to start with. The Lord has given me the ability and blessed me with so many things to be as fortunate as I am, and I would like to have others to have the same fortune and share.
What you heard was absolutely incredible. What God can do never seems to surprise me anymore. I mean, I've just seen Him work in such powerful ways in people's lives and just transforming people. And we were so excited to have Robert on today and hear his story of what God's done in his life, to his life, and now doing through him. And just so incredibly thankful for what He's doing for the kingdom, what He's doing for the ministry, and so thankful also that you came back again to hear from kingdom-minded business people that are using the resources that they have and giving everything they have to God, tearing idols down, giving up resources. I still will not understand why God would work through me, but I'm so thankful that He would. And I'm so thankful to be used by Him. And I'm so excited that we can inspire other people to be used by Him. Thanks so much, and please join us again in the future for another Kingdom Connectors Missionary from the Desk. God bless everyone.